Our water management system is dysfunctional, sanitation is dysfunctional, taxation is dysfunctional, democracy is dysfunctional. I think a lot of Pakistanis will agree with that. And it disturbs me that we come back to Islam always and say that it is because of Islam that all these things are dysfunctional. So you're actually saying that we should take Islam out of the constitution, should no longer be the state religion. The Sharia appellate bench in 1999 gave the government 2 years to transform the economy into non-interest based. Did it happen? No. We always talk about freedom of marriage for women in Pakistan, that women should be allowed to marry according to their own choice. Does it happen in Pakistan? No. Again, we can't say that because you're going to remove Islam from the constitution that these are going to remove all these issues. No, because Islam assures all of these things for the minorities as well as the majorities. The part 9 of Islamic provisions, it's a whole chapter in the constitution. The first point, of the first article, 227, the third point in that is nothing in this part shall affect the personal laws of non-Muslim citizens or their status as citizens. Repeat, nothing in this part shall affect the personal laws of non-Muslim citizens or their status as citizens. In other words, they are not second-class citizens, they are supposed to be first-class citizens, equal in the eyes of the law.
More information there.
Yes.
I would just like to clarify that this debate is not about Islam. This debate is about Pakistan and what it was meant to be. So we're not debating whether Islam specifies a certain form of government.
I disagree. It is not about what Pakistan was meant to be. It is actually a reality that right now Pakistan is an Islamic Republic of Pakistan, and therefore
well, that's
we are deciding whether we want to remove that. We want to remove the notion of whether it should be an Islamic Republic of Pakistan.
And that's what we are saying is a relevant question. That it is valid to question why it's an Islamic state, and that's not why it was what it was meant to be. So we're not here debating the pros and cons of Islam as a religion. I'm not saying what Islam says.
I'm sorry, but this is basically what most of the criticism about whether Pakistan should be a state Islamic religion, whether that Islamic religion should be a state religion, comes back again to all the criticisms that's imparted on the nation. Are you really prepared to open a Pandora's box? If we do indeed take away the notion that Pakistan does not have a state religion anymore, you're going to be putting on this poor nation, which is already dealing with so many different problems, you're going to be starting putting a lot more problems. Do you really want the women of Pakistan to start having to deal with headscarf issues? You really want people in this audience to start having an issue with beards? This is our national emblem. There are going to be questions start raising about, oh, change the color of this from green because green resembles Islam. What about the other minorities in Pakistan? Remove the hilal and sitara because that also represents Islam. You're going to start questioning the motto, the national motto offered by Muhammad Ali Rai, Iman, Iftikhar, Nazam. You're going to say, well, Iman has all to do with Islam, so you need to remove that. Finally, do you really want to come to a point that people will start questioning that you need to remove this hilala and sitara? Come on, be serious, guys.
Before we move on to the next speaker, I just want to mention this. We're talking about Islam, of course, is a majority religion in Pakistan, but I don't know how many of you know that there are 7 million Hindus in Pakistan, 7 million Hindu Pakistanis. There are 7 million Christian Pakistanis. And this population is pretty huge, bigger than maybe say some of the European countries. Denmark has only 5.5 million people altogether. So Pakistan has got more Hindus, more Christians, there are Sikhs, there are Parsis are a smaller community. So Pakistan is a plural society, plural. And that's where I thought some of our speakers may come back to the issue of the society. I think we are too much focused on the issues of state. Pakistan is not just a state. State is one of the most important factors or actors in Pakistan.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'll start off with pointing out what the proposition today has already shown, which is, number one, as they pointed out, is that Pakistan was never meant to be an Islamic state in the eyes of founding fathers and in light of the Pakistan movement. And what Omer pointed out is that in the 60-year history of Pakistan, Pakistan is marked by all sorts of problems that have resulted from misuse of religious ideas at the state level. Before I move on to more positive arguments, I'd like to point out a couple of misquotations that have occurred from the opposition side. Firstly, the opposition does not seem to realize our definition of a secular state. The only examples of a secular state which they claim that we're supporting have been of Turkey and France, while Sohaib pointed out explicitly in his opening speech that our idea of a secular state would not place any religion above any other, and it would not advocate a state in which religion is completely absent from public life, as is the case in Turkey. So the Heskaf issue, or the weird issue, will never be a problem in the secular state we're advocating, and so this misappropriation of our claims should not be done from the opposition side. Moving on to more positive arguments. As a third speaker of the proposition, having proven that Pakistan was never meant to be an Islamic state, thank you, sir, start, please. And secondly, that Islam as religion has caused all sorts of problems in Pakistan. As a third speaker, my point is to prove that a secular state in Pakistan is not against any Islamic injunctions, that to appease the 95% or 97% or whatever the numbers are, majority Muslim population, that their following of the Islamic faith will not be compromised by a secular state, and I will, in the process of doing so, I will debunk some myths that are usually put forward by the supporters of an Islamic state in Pakistan. I might have to fast forward a little because of time restrictions, but the basic point here is that the various problems and conflicts pointed out Omer earlier have been brought about by the attempts to bring about a unified state. Please, for information. Yes, sir.
Would you please move on to the three lessons we have to debate?
Yes, sir. The opposition today has not put forward the general claims that are put forward for the Islamic State, which I think is a fault in the opposition part. But for the sake of the audience, I am debating essential points against an Islamic state. So I mean, to sum up that debate, the call for an Islamic state. The call for an Islamic state is inherently flawed because, like I pointed out, the 150% of Islam in Pakistan can never be reconciled on a state frontier. The only way for the Muslims of Pakistan and the non-Muslims, the minorities, to be able to freely practice their religion is for the state to facilitate the practice of religion on an equal footing, without regard to what sect they belong to, what religion they belong to, and it is only this free propagation of religion without having a state-sponsored particular brand of Islam, which today is leading towards Wahhabism at the center. And with that point, I probably rest the problem. Thank you.
The speaker has taken us back to the whole discussion about Islam and politics, especially during the medieval period. I think the Mongol state is very controversial because this is the time when Ibn Taymiyyah and others were writing, and Muhyiddin Ibn Arabi, trying to bring a synthesis. The situation was pretty complex, and some people say that the Mongols destroyed the classical tradition, but in the process the Mongols were acculturated, and the future three big empires in the Muslim world, they all were connected to Central Asia. Not only Mongols, but Turkic. Not Turkic. Turkish, but Turkic. And one, Mughals in India, Safavids in Persia, and the Ottomans in the Near East. So three empires had connection with the Mongol. But it's a very interesting topic, but our next speaker wants to talk about the current situation.
To be completely honest with you guys, I was expecting some much coherent discussion and some answer points coming out from this side. But unfortunately, my case has been pretty much done, and hopefully I won't indulge in too much for history lessons. So just a few comments about the speakers first, and then we'll get to the actual debate. So the first speaker, look at the words which he used: confusing, false, Pakistan is not created on Islam, invading Iraq. I don't know, I mean that's like skipping trains. You try to catch one train, you lose it, you try to catch the next train, you lose it, and then you move on and on and on. So I'm sorry to say, my dear friends, that was no coherent argument. So coming to the second speaker, his biggest case was Bangladesh. Bangladesh. I'll talk in detail about Bangladesh and how Islam was crucial and what we did over there. I won't say much about the third speaker.
I'd love to hear you.
I need, to be honest, I'm not